There's a new book by Ruskin Bond which I'm going to review today, and this is quite different from the rest of his works. It's called How to Be Happy by Ruskin Bond. So today I'm going to review How to Be Happy by Ruskin Bond. Now, let me begin by saying, like I said, this book is quite different from Ruskin Bond's other works. There's no narrative here as such. You do not get those stories of Binya passing by or those other fascinating stories. But this is written in a more memoir style where Ruskin Bond is giving you the mantra to be happy. He's telling you how to be happy, and he's sort of it has an autobiographical mode. He's talking about things from his own life, his own life in the mountains, his lifestyle, how his morning ritual is of, having a cup of tea with bread omelette is literally sacrosanct for him. So, you get these little glimpses into Ruskin Bond's lifestyle through this book. So it doesn't have, that kind of narrative. You don't get make believe stories as such here. So it's very different from Ruskin Bond's other books. Other thing about this book is, it's a beautifully designed book. That's why if you're a Ruskin Bond fan, I think this is the kind of book, for reading, of course, but apart from reading, this is a book you need to be a proud possessor of. You need to proudly possess a copy of this book because the sheer visual brilliance of this book, makes it amazing. The font, I'm going to, show you some screenshots of the pages inside the book. The font here is quite, it's quite reader friendly and it's quite artistically designed, and the font is larger than, it's not your typical novel font. The font is pretty large. So it's kind of more like, the kind of font which is used in children's storybooks, and the book is replete with visuals, illustrations, but also personal photographs from Ruskin Bond's own lives. And it's a very colorful, feel-good sort of a book, so it's a visual treat. So I think this kind of book, How to Be Happy by Ruskin Bond, of course, as adults, you can enjoy this book, but I think especially for children and for teenagers, this book is valuable. I would say that this is the kind of book that, schools can actually prescribe in their syllabus for kids because in a very fun way and in his typical nonchalant way, Ruskin Bond is actually teaching a lot of profound. He's teaching you a lot about profound philosophies of life, which are profound, and yet these are so simple. So Ruskin Bond's writing, is not about it's not about grand narratives. He's not a political writer, so he's not the one, sort of constructing grand narratives, but his writing is about connecting with the simplicity of the earth, and it's the diametrically opposite of grand narratives. That it's not the grand narratives that make you happy, but small things in life or simple things in life, irrespective of your social positioning, irrespective of your station in life. The rain falls, the sound of raindrops, and the way sort of trees and mountains look, and when it's all green and the lush greenery and the simple beauties of nature, and the simple pleasures of day-to-day life, like enjoying your breakfast, enjoying a cup of tea, cup of coffee with a bread omelette. These small things are what really matter and not the grand narratives. So that's why I think, especially for children and for teenagers, such a book, if it's prescribed in the syllabus, How to Be Happy by Ruskin Bond, it creates a lot of awareness on many issues, be it the issue of preserving nature, or staying grounded as a human being, or, working hard in your life, having dreams, nurturing in your dreams, creating space in your life for dreams, but at the same time, having your feet firmly planted on the ground. There's these little nuggets, little pearls of wisdom in this book. And this kind of writing, I think it seems very simple when you read How to Be Happy by Ruskin Bond, the kind of writing which there is, but I think it's the most difficult writing style to achieve, and that's why perhaps it comes after 90 years of sort of wisdom, this kind of writing style, because the things which seem the simplest, but we don't realize those things, and with the sheer simplicity and the panache with which Ruskin Bond says these things, these simple realities of life and how to be happy, It's indeed, I think commendable is somewhat lesser of a word. It's beyond commendable. And that's why he has the kind of stature, that he has in the writing world. So I'm just going to read, a few snippets from this book, just to give you a flavor of this book, and then we'll wrap up. So in the beginning of the book itself, Ruskin Bond narrates how, he had a very painful childhood since his parents were separated. But still, he kind of, there was this one fine day when he discovered kids playing in the playground, and how this simple act of joyfully connecting with those kids, and playing along with those kids sort of washed away all his sadness as a kid. And I think we can all relate to those kind of experiences. I grew up in a broken home. My parents separated, and I went to live with my father, with whom I spent 2 happy years. He died suddenly when I was 10. I found it difficult adjusting to a very different sort of life with my mother and a strange stepfather. I felt lonely, resentful, unwanted. I took long walks all over the small town in which we lived. My wanderings took me onto a waste ground where some boys were playing cricket. I stood there watching them. Suddenly, a cricket ball came bouncing towards me. I caught it. I threw it back to the players. One of them called out, "Come and play with us if you like." On an impulse, I joined them. I wasn't a great player, but they didn't seem to mind. They weren't great players either, but they were happy playing together. I joined the team, made friends with some of the boys. Then he comes up with new, these very fascinating metaphors, and, for teaching us about basic concepts of life and the concept of happiness. So there's this metaphor of, a ball which he has used in this book. So there's this whole chapter, and I'm going to read out these beautiful lines where he's talking about the importance of, the importance of bouncing back in the life of human beings with the metaphor of a ball. Bounce like a ball. What great benefactor of humanity invented the ball? Or did it invent itself? Our great ancestors probably played with a ball made of grass and weeds, bound together with vines or the stems of the rubber plant. I've seen slum children play with a ball made of rags tied together with pajama string. It's the ball that bounces that has held humanity in sway over the centuries. So, it's a thing I was talking about. Just see the simplicity and the brevity of this writing, yet it's something which is very, very deep, which is very, very profound. So, I think this book is perfect for, sort of being prescribed in schools, and for also giving, some kind of, I think, creative writing workshops, or, sort of life or motivational workshops to kids and teenagers. I think this is the perfect book for that age category. Then I'm going to read out these lines which particularly struck me, because of their poetic style, and these lines flow so well. Laugh with joy, laugh at the ducks in the pond, laugh at Binya running after one of her cows, laugh at Bisnu in the branches of the walnut tree, laugh at the bulbul splashing about in the bird bath, laugh at the sum that's giving you so much trouble in maths class. Better than crying over it, laugh at yourself in the mirror and have a good laugh. I would say this book, How to Be Happy by Ruskin Bond, is a wonderful. Ruskin Bond offers you a recipe that has a wonderful amalgamation of reality and fantasy, of dreams and reality. The author is, it has a lot of positive feel good vibes. The author is asking you to do, take pleasure in small things of life, to appreciate nature, to connect with the immediate atmosphere, environment around you, and to pursue your dreams. But it's not, just a feel good superficial book. The author is also asking you to maintain, this kind of balance between reality and your dreams, and to keep your feet firmly planted on the ground. Like he says in these lines, build castles in the air, but put foundations under them. Then when he's talking about, the importance of pursuing your passion, he again says, but passion by itself isn't enough. It must be backed by the honing of our skills and the aim for perfection. Be a violinist or an athlete or an architect or a racing car driver, but you must aim for perfection. We fall short of it, of course, but the striving for perfection does often lead to glory. And then, the book has a lot of wonderful, beautiful nature description. It's one of Ruskin Bond's major strengths, probably, because he has spent all his life in the lap of nature, and he took this conscious decision to stay away from the big city of life. and live in this beautiful area of Missouri, which is called the Landor, where Ruskin Bond's house is. His nature description is just so poetic and musical, and it transports you to a different world altogether. So, overall, like I said, How to Be Happy by Ruskin Bond is a kind of book which will appeal to all age groups and categories. There's so much depth in this book that, it's a book to possess, and the more you read, I read it like two times. The first time you read it, it's sort of, something starts brewing in your consciousness. The second time you read it, so that's a kind of that's the extent of the kind of multi-layered universe which is there in Ruskin Bond's writings. There's something in there for every category of reader, and there's something new in there every time you revisit these books. So How to Be Happy by Ruskin Bond it's a treat. It's a book lover's treat. So I would definitely recommend that you go for this book if you're a Ruskin Bond fan. And if you haven't read Ruskin Bond, then also I would recommend that you can start reading this book. So guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now. If you do like the content, please do press the like button, and please do subscribe to my channel. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.